Hi there. Today I'm going to talk about something that is very close to my heart. So if you are in your 20s or 30s, stay, because this one is for you actually. I understand your pain. I understand that you feel lost in this world. I understand that all of the people and all of the society structures that we have around us are asking more and more from you. Everything wants you to do more, to achieve more, to understand more. But we are thrown into this society without having any say to it. And we are thrown into schools without having to say if we want to do it or not. And we spend the majority of our young lives trying to adapt to the school system, to the society that we don't even want to adapt to maybe, and we are still not navigating it in a correct way. In today's world, this is a big problem. And if you are feeling this, I understand you, I understand the pain, and I have felt it myself, and I meet a lot of people that have the same issue. Many people, it's not dependent on the age they are at, from young people to even old people, they are feeling lost. The world is changing so much right now, and no one is really connecting to their reality as we did before. Especially for young people, their parents and the society is asking so much from them to find a partner, to have a degree, to find work, to understand life, to get a purpose, and to feel happy, and to fix their finances. All of this is happening while the world is becoming more and more complicated. And the more I talk to young generations, the more I understand that the difficulties they are facing are very different from what I faced when I was young in my 20s. Now I'm 35. And if you are in your 20s or your 30s or even your 40s, I'm sure you are trying to either buy a house or get a better house. And with this situation we have with our housing market right now, it's not getting easier. And every time, I understand even that every time you think you got it together, you maybe got enough money to do your first purchase or to get a better house to build your family in it, the markets are changing and you lose that momentum and you don't even know if you are doing the right thing. All of that pain, all of that overwhelmness, if that is even a word, that everyone is experiencing right now is something that is really close to my heart, because I meet a lot of young people, especially through what I do, and I see many of them, they are not connecting to the workplace. What I mean with connecting is that they don't feel that they belong to a workplace in the same sense that people from the 60s and 70s did. And companies' values are the same, while people have changed. Younger generations are not the same anymore. Everyone is criticizing Gen Z for who they are, for the values and principles they bring to the workplace, but I haven't yet heard any manager or any leader or any CEO talk about how we should adapt our company policies to the newer generations. For example, Gen Z, because Gen Z comes with new principles and new values. For example, they care more about the environment and they care more about societal questions, but not all companies care about those. And not all companies reflect them in their organizations. The only thing they care about is the product and the winnings, of course, of the company, the profit. So Gen Z are a very good example of how we should adapt to the newer generation, how we should understand that the world is changing, but also the new young people we have in this world are also changing. They are not the same people that we had in 60s. Their mindset is different, their mentality is different. And if we don't do anything about it, we will have crisis in our societies, we will have crisis in our workplace. The generation before me had a whole other type of difficulties that they were facing. But in reality, it is getting harder. The world is getting harder for the young people. From social media and all of this high standard, people are showing off on their accounts and with their content, not showing reality and not showing how they are really living their lives. And all of the young people seeing that and trying to live up to those standards and to live up to that quality of life, not understanding that this is not really how those influencers live their lives. And to the job market that is getting harder and harder, to the economical situation that the whole world is living in right now, where everything is harder and everything is more expensive, and even crisis with relationships as well. And this is one thing that I keep hearing young people talk about. Should I work hard on my 20s and then try to live my life on my 30s? And then I talk to someone who is in their 30s and say, should I work hard in my 30s or should I start a family now? So life is not that easy to figure out anymore, not like before, because the older generation, it was easier for them. It was easier to get a job. It was easier to buy a house because houses were much cheaper than what they are today. And it was easier to create a family and have children, and everything was figured out because they lived in an age where salaries were enough. Nothing was as expensive as it was today. And they are not seeing that. They are just demanding so much from their children. If they are in their 20s or 30s or even 40s, parents are still demanding so much from the children that the children are feeling lost and feeling helpless because they hear so much demands, but they don't know how to get answers or how to get those demands done or fulfilled. And that is a problem right now, because if you talk to the younger generation, the majority of them struggling to get a job. They are struggling to buy an apartment to live in, because many people, and at the age of 20, 25, 26, and even 30, they are still living with their parents, not because they choose to do it, but because it is so expensive to buy an apartment and live on your own. That is not a good situation that we are in at this moment. And something needs to happen. We need to understand what is going on. But for the younger generation, I think the important thing to do is to try to navigate your own life. Try to understand what is it that you want from your life. It is easy for parents and easy for people around you in society and in the community you live in to put some pressure on you and to put some demands on you. That is easy to say. It's easy for your parents to ask, why aren't you in a relationship yet? And why didn't you get a job? Or why didn't you get a promotion in your job? And why didn't you move out yet? If you get those questions, it's easy for them to do it because when they were younger, the world looked differently than what it is today. So in one way, I can relate to how they see the world, but I relate to you more, the younger generation, people in your 20s and in your 30s. I understand the pain. I see it every day with the people I meet through my job. And it's not an easy situation to be in. So you need to start blocking all of this noise around you. You need to really start to focus on understanding yourself, who you are as a person, and try to get your values, try to get them, try to understand them. And the only way to do that is to understand yourself, who you are, what do you want to do in life, and what are your core values. One thing I would like to mention here is when I talk to the younger generation and they come to me for advice or they want to understand how they should tackle a certain situation in their life, I keep hearing that they hear that it is so easy to get answers nowadays from social media. For example, if you have an issue with how you need to do something or find a job or write a CV or how to talk to your parents or how to get a girlfriend, you can just go to YouTube and watch a video about it or watch a tutorial. That is not how we really learn. We can absorb some information, but we are social animals. We need to be with humans. We need to talk to people. And with all of those social media platforms, it's not becoming easier because everyone is so busy being on their phones, connecting on these social media platforms, but they are forgetting the real life outside. And over that, we are hearing so many concepts and so many ideas on those social medias that all of those younger people who want to understand life and wants to be good at what they're doing, hearing every day, but they don't even know what it is. Like, for example, ikigai, mindfulness. You need to find your purpose. You need to find happiness. You need to find peace. You need to be a good partner. You need to be a good employee. And you need to be respectful to the life you're living and be appreciative of whatever you have. What does that mean even? How can our younger generation navigate all of this information if there is no real guidance in life? Before, we had societies where the older people took care of the younger people. Now, our older people are also busy with their work. They are also very busy with their life. Parents go to work at 7 or 8 and come back at 5 or 6. And they come back exhausted mentally and physically. And then, though at that time they should take care of their children, that sounds unreasonable. So the younger generation feel that there is no role model in their life, there is no mentors in their life, and they are feeling lost. No one is seeing them. No one is expressing any type of support for them, so they can feel they are part of this life, they are part of this community, part of this family. They are getting the attention they are needing from social media, from likes and comments and shares or whatever they are doing on social media. That is why the younger generation is so focused on social media, because at home the parents are busy. And don't get me wrong, many of the parents I meet, they are really trying to do, but how will they do it when they are so busy trying to provide for their family? Because before, and when the older generation said, you guys are spoiled and life is so easy now, no, it's not like that. Because before, it was enough for one person to go to work, and then that person can provide for the family, and their partner would take care of the family when that person is at work. Now, both parents have to be at work. I'm not even talking about single parents, that's even harder. But I'm talking about both parents have to go to work to provide for one family. So the children are missing a lot of guidance, a lot of support, a lot of love from their parents. And they go and turn to social media for that. If you really recognize yourself in everything I have said, then I have good news for you. You can yourself do something about it. All of this noise around you will stop if you start to understand yourself. If you start to understand who you are and what do you want to achieve with your life. All of those big words that are thrown at you from social media, like, for example, purpose or mindfulness or happiness or even ikigai, all of those are about who you are as a person. It's all about your core values. And what I mean with core values is that every person should choose 4 or 5 words that present who they are as a person from the inside. If you care about your family, choose family as your core value. If you care about like progress in your life, choose progress. If you care about money, choose money. If you care about fame, choose fame. But try to understand who you are and decide on those words. Because when you have 4 words or 5 words that you say, I'm gonna live my life according to those core values, it will be much easier for you to navigate life. It will be much easier for you to understand what your priorities are in life. Without those, it is very hard to understand what is it that you want to achieve. And there is a big mistake that I see many of the young people I meet through my work doing right now, which is adopting to ideas and goals and the processes from other people that they don't relate to. They see, for example, someone with like a vacation somewhere that's very expensive, and they think, oh, I want that as well. But in reality, that's not something they really care about. Maybe they care about a friend, or maybe they care about a sport they're playing, a hobby. But when they keep seeing those videos, that influence that is coming from social media, they get influenced by it and they start adapting to other people's mentalities. For example, I meet a lot of people that said, I want to start my own business. I want to become someone who has control over their life. But then I ask them, what do you want to work with? And they don't have a clue. Or what is it that you want to achieve in 10 years? They don't have a clue as well. So the idea here is it's really good to have goals and to have a vision and ambition for your life and for yourself. But first, you need to understand who you are as a person, because ambition without clear path is just a lot of energy wasted, which is not a good thing. especially if you are young. You are young, and young is now like a very wide interval of time. So if you are in your 20s, 30s, 40s, even 50s, if you want to achieve something, you need to understand what it is, and you need to really make it clear for yourself and for your brain what is it that you want to achieve. If it's, for example, if it's money, put a certain number, because then your brain will be able to work on it, break it down, and understand maybe in 1 year I can achieve it, maybe in 2, maybe in 10. But if you just say, I want to be rich or I want to be famous, what does even fame means to you? You need to understand those concepts. You need to make them very clear for yourself and for your brain in order for you to be able to work on them. The important thing here is I really want you to stop listening to the noise around you. If it's coming from social media or your parents or like a friend you have that is always telling you about things that you really don't care about, you need to stop with all the noise. Don't listen to the noise. If it's someone who is older than you and telling you that life was much harder and now you're soft or you're spoiled, they don't understand what they're talking about. And I'm telling you from a perspective that I have gone through this journey. I understand, and I've heard the same comments before. They don't understand what's going on. They don't understand an era where we lived in a time where we had internet. They didn't have internet. Internet made a lot of things easier, but made other things much harder. They don't understand really how it is to live in a world where there is so many social media platforms. They will never understand it. Even when you see older people on social media, they don't know what they're doing. They're just there for fun and for connecting with their relatives or something. But in reality, the younger generation are using it for much more. And they have never been in a time where there was AI, which is disrupting the whole world right now and changing the marketplace, changing every product we are holding in our hands and we have in our homes. So they don't understand what you're talking about, and you need to stop listening to that noise. You need to cut it out. You need to really isolate yourself from the noise and try to understand who you are and what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to achieve? It's a very easy thing to do if you really want to do it. You can just isolate yourself in a room or anywhere you want. If you are in school, just sit in a room somewhere or sit alone somewhere. Or if you are in your work, you can book a room and sit there anywhere you want. You can just go for a cup of coffee alone and have paper and pen with you and try to come up with 3, 4, 5 words that present who you are. If someone asks you who you are, you can just say those 4 words and that will represent who you are. If you do that, you will see that everything around you will become clearer. Your priorities in life, what are you thinking about? What do you want to achieve with your life? All of those things will become clearer. And let's just make one thing clear. Many people talk about purpose, for example, and you need to find your purpose in life. And what is your purpose? And it's so important to work on your purpose because then work will not feel like work. Believe me, many of those people who are sitting right now and talking about purpose, they didn't have purpose for a very long time. They're just saying that now because they think they found their purpose. It is not like that. Purpose comes to you when you start doing something, and if you don't like it, you stop and you go to something else until you find something that you enjoy doing and you become so good at it that it feels really light in your hands. When you're working on it, it's like you're not working anymore. But that comes from experience. That comes from putting time and energy and effort into learning that thing until it becomes so easy to you, but you're producing so good quality. Then you will say, I have a purpose in life. This is valid even about talented people that, for example, painters. A painter with a talent is a very good start. But a painter without practicing as much as they can will never be someone. So talent is nothing. If what people mean with purpose is talent, talent means nothing if you don't work on it. A person with talent will always lose to someone without talent but practices a lot. So the idea here, don't think about purpose. When you are trying to figure out your life and your path that you want to walk on, Don't think about purpose. Think about where to start. I want to start with this thing and I will see how it goes. And start. Don't wait for the perfect feelings in your stomach or the perfect moment where everything is aligned perfectly in your life and with your work, with your family, with your friends. Don't wait for those moments. Start today. Just pick something and start, because that will give you a sense of direction. And with that sense of direction, you can redirect yourself if you don't like what you're doing. But if you never start, you will never have the sense of direction. Another thing that's really important to mention here, when I'm talking to specifically younger generations and younger people in their 20s, they are always having some sort of suffering in their mind because of a certain part of their life that is not functioning well. Let me say that again. So when I meet people in their 20s, especially the young people, they are always suffering mentally because there is a part in their life that is not functioning well. The thing is, they don't understand is that no one figures everything out all the time throughout their lives. Everyone has issues and problems in their lives. When health is good and family is good and relationships are good, you might have something with your finance. When your finance are good and your relationships are good, you might have something with your health. When your health is good and your finance are good, you might have something wrong with your relationships. That is called life. And that is something that everyone needs to understand, from the younger generation until you are 70s or 80s. Of course, people, when they reach that old of age, they lose interest. They don't care anymore. They live life as in a flow state of mind. They don't try to drive things anymore. But for younger people, you need to understand, if you have a certain part in your life that you have not figured out yet, that is okay. It is okay to not have everything figured out. Believe me, I talk to CEOs, I talk to people very successful in their business or successful in their relationships, but they are not successful in other aspects of life. A lot of people who are very successful in business have issues with their partners or with the relationships because, for example, they don't have time to prioritize a person or relationship. A lot of people who has success in business and relationships, they don't have time to take care of themselves. They take care of their health and exercise, or even go to a doctor to do a checkup. That is reality. So don't be so hard on yourself. If you have a certain part of your life that is not functioning 100% or even 50% or even 30%, it is okay. Focus on what is good. And when you have energy and time, try to fix that part. Try to figure out why it is not functioning. But if you are trying to fix everything at the same time, you will lose this race. Because it's not human for us to, for example, fix our finances and our work and career, and fix our relationships and fix our health at the same time. You need to prioritize certain things throughout your life, and with time you will build them up until you have them all together. But don't think you can do it all at the same time. No one has done that. Even your parents, who might be saying to you that they did it, they didn't do that, because they first studied and then they got a job and then they got a house, or they got married and then they got a house and then they got a child. So in life, we have phases. And if you don't understand that, you will have a lot of issues, because if you think you can take on all the challenges of life at the same time, it will break your back. That's not easy. That's not even hard. That's very hard. That's very difficult. So choose where you want to focus on. If you are in 20s and you want to start a business, focus on that. Don't focus on relationships. Focus on that and focus on your health. So when you're at your 30 and you're successful, you still have your health. And then you can meet a partner, because now you can have some time to focus on relationships as well, because you are successful with your business and you have good health. Or if you want to focus on health and relationships in your 20s, do that. And then remember that you need at your 30s to focus on your finance and get your life together. But don't take everything at the same time. If you can focus on one thing and really put all the energy you have on it, do that, especially when you're young. Life is long, as they say. It will go fast, And believe me, I saw something in front of me and I experienced life and how it goes fast. But still, you are young, you have some time. Try to use that time to achieve something. And that something should be what you want to achieve. Don't listen to what people are telling you, because who's to say what do you want, and who's to say what you should focus on and what you should prioritize? No one will live your life. No one will be in your shoes ever. So you live your life the way you want to do it. You focus on the things that you want to focus on and prioritize the stuff you want to prioritize. Another important thing that I want the younger generation to understand is it is okay to fail. You are in school right now, probably, and the school system is built for you to not fail. The goal is to not fail in your exams. That is such a stupid thing to learn. And from the school side, it's very stupid to teach the younger generation, because real life is not like that. You will never achieve something if you don't accept that failure is the path. Every big name that you follow has started many businesses, or have started, if you are interested of social media, many of the big names we have on social media, the influencers, they started one account and two account and three and four and five until one of them took off and they became famous. Even actors, many people, young people look at actors and think have like a cool life, but they don't understand the pressure and the failure year after year after year they went through until they got a chance to prove themselves, and then they became big. So for you, if you are young, even if you're 16, 15, 18, 20, 30, please understand failure is the way, it is the path. If you don't fail, if you don't do anything wrong, then either you're playing it too safe or you're not doing anything at all. So you need to fail. You need to understand that. Get it through your head. Failure is not a bad thing. No one cares if anyone will judge you. No one probably will judge you. No one will care. Even if someone looks at your path and see that you have failed a couple of times or 3 times or 10 times, no one cares. People will ignore that and cheer for you when you succeed. But if you don't do anything, you will be stuck in a life that probably you don't want, because society told you that you should live this way. Society told you to go get a degree and then work in a miserable job that you don't even want. I'm not saying school is bad. I'm just saying that try to understand what you want. Try to understand what motivates you. And when you understand that, work on it. Be consistent.